in terms of higher education. A lot of questions are coming about the adaptability of like Western liberal education models, questions about importing the US-based universities into the Gulf countries. There are some questions about, do we look to China in order to emulate some of what they're doing in higher education? So what are your thoughts on which regions or countries in the world can serve as models for the Arab world to follow in terms of educational development?
That's a wonderful question, and one of the issues that I probably should have developed more in the book, and regret that I didn't, goes somewhat like this. Most Arab countries have what is usually described as a command and control system of higher education. And in public education, I'm going to leave aside the private sector for the moment. And maybe Egypt, because it pioneered in so many ways after 1952, became the paradigm of this. So that today we have something like 29 public universities or 30 public universities in Egypt. They're regional. They have the same basic promotion structures, salary structures, fee structures, regardless of locale. They have, with some exceptions, similar curriculum. It's kind of a one-size-fits-all system. And it achieved a great deal. That was sort of something that it took me a while to understand. It educated a lot of people, not very well, but adequately. And it did it without a lot of distinction or socioeconomic prejudices built in. And so what I want to answer part of the question, why not take the system itself? When I say the system, all of the public institutions of higher learning, the Supreme Councils of Education, and turn them into a quasi-autonomous unit responsible for education at all levels. Singapore might be the closest example that I know of in this respect. I look at a great distance at China. China is trying to combine a lot of things, and maybe I'll come back to that in a minute. Maybe the California system in its heyday back in the 1960s and 1970s, the Clark Kerr model with the great flagship universities like Berkeley and UCLA, then the Cal State system that catered to the broad base of the population in California, and then the community colleges that focus much more on what we might call vocational education. The system was very strong for a while until the Californian population decided they didn't want to fund it. And it's been pretty much starved for resources ever since. But there are models there. But the thing is, the command and control systems might be salvageable, and they are systems with which the Arab world is very familiar now. They wouldn't have to invent something. It would be to empower the existing systems. Now, that may seem a little scary to political leadership because there'd be a lot of resources involved, and to give this whole sector a certain degree of autonomy to manage its own affairs, develop its own internal criteria for performance evaluation might seem very dangerous to political leadership, but it is a possible avenue going forward.